Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. I've decided on my New Year's resolution over the weekend for 2011. Here it is. I ain't looking back. I don't care anymore. People either get it or they don't. Oh well. I'm moving on. Seems like the people over at Saturday Night Live are starting to get it. I don't know if you saw this. Wait until you see it. We'll show it to you here in a second. America, here's the thing. It's time to make a choice. Hard times are coming. But with that sentence, that sounds kind of pessimistic. Don't take it that way. Times of historic opportunity are right around the corner as well. But America faces that choice. Next, come on. Hello, America. We do have a historic choice. We could look at things and go, boo, or we could see this moment as a moment of opportunity, because that is what the people who are against this republic, you know, the people who are quite honestly plotting against our republic, that's what they see it as, a historic opportunity. What do you think? George Soros is like, oh no, this is so freaky, I don't know what to do. He's seeing the conditions and he's going to make the best of it. What are we doing? For the last 4 or 5 years now, I've been ringing this bell as loud as I possibly can. It's why I took the job here. I was actually going to leave television when I was over at CNN. And I decided, no. Fox will actually let me be me. They'll actually let me say the things. And I wanted to warn that trouble was lying ahead of us. At the beginning of this period, before really television, I was just on the radio and I lost stations because of it. I was accused that I was only just trying to help out the Democrats. What are you doing? You're hurting the GOP. What? Can you not make this about politics? I made a choice. I'm going to talk about what's important. I'm not going to talk about Lindsay Lohan's latest arrest or what, somebody in Washington is all upset about. I'm going to bring you the truth as I see it, because I have a responsibility as an American citizen and as a dad. No matter what the result was, I was going to tell you. And while people were talking about various congressional races here in the last few weeks, I was talking about hyperinflation or bonds or radical progressives. Oh, it is so sexy. I know why you watch. I wanted to wake up as many people as possible and show them that the republic is under attack. Try to help America learn to think out of the box. It's been an amazing ride. Somebody told me the other day that the Glenn Beck footprint now, all of my various platforms, reaches 30 million people a month. You are awake, America. But I also believe that I may be at a point of diminishing returns here. I've been ringing this bell. At some point, Paul Revere got off the horse. Because people would have been like, okay, I get it, they're coming. People don't watch this show now and not feel it. I mean, the people who are complaining about this show all the time, they don't watch this show. They've never listened to one single monologue. Sure, the people at Media Matters that manufacture lies for George Soros, they watch it every night and then they take it and twist it and take it out of context. But somehow the people who don't ever watch this show or listen to a single monologue, they say that I'm crazy, I'm wrong, I'm a liar. You're just a foolish, crazy liar for watching me. There's only one problem. The things on this program are now coming about. The things that I have told you were going to happen now are. This program and you are closer to reality than anything the media has ever predicted. Anything that the experts or those in Washington have been telling you is coming. You've been right, and it's time to point this out to your friends. It's kind of strange to see them. It's spooky, really. Somebody told me the other day, my gosh, Glenn, one of the things you just said, you're going to be so thrilled. And they told me, and I'm like, no, that's a bad thing. I don't want to be right on this. It's spooky to see all of them now catching up to you. You know what it is? It's like, do you remember the movie A Field of Dreams? Remember the guy who couldn't see the players on the field? And he's just running around and he's telling his friends, like, you got to sell the farm, man. You're crazy. You're crazy. Until he finally sees all the players at the end, and then he says this.
Do not sell this farm, Ray.
Yeah.
You got to keep this farm.
Right. Okay. Oh, I hope our friends eventually get to this point. Things that have happened just this weekend are worth mentioning to your friends just so they can see the water rise. We've told you for years how the debt is unsustainable. When George Bush was in office, I was telling you this. I was called a fearmonger. Oh, the comedy shows. Oh my gosh. They mocked me relentless. Everybody. In the pages of the paper of record this weekend, the New York Times says the United States is still careening towards bankruptcy. Oh, gee, you think so, New York Times? Welcome aboard. Only problem is the New York Times should probably be smart enough to know that countries don't go bankrupt. No, they don't. They monetize or hyperinflate their money. See Zimbabwe or Weimar. Which leads us to monetizing the debt. We told you on this program that would happen. No, they all said. There I am, 2009. It's going to happen. No, they'll never, under oath, we will never monetize the debt. Yeah, until the government comes out and then they announce that they're going to monetize the debt. Just a couple of years ago, there was no way anyone past the financial section of the papers would even bother covering something called QE2. I know, because they didn't cover QE1. Now, this morning I got up and I saw on nzpatriot.com QE2 cartoons for dummies. By the way, I'm one of these dummies that should have known this. Even like 2 years ago, I would have named this cartoon. It's fantastic. It's demonstrating how people have a hunger for finding out what's really going on. It's a complex thing. Well, there's an immediate blowback. Monetizing the debt, huh? A group of academics, economists, hedge fund managers, publishers, and of course GOP strategists, many of whom called me crazy recently, or at least when they weren't monetizing the debt, have now signed a letter to Chairman Ben Bernanke, urging him to reconsider the Fed's QE2 policy. The letter is going to be published in papers all across the country. Look for it. I have been telling you for years to get out of debt. I told people, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, don't take out these crazy loans. It's unsustainable. I've told people, protect yourself. First I said, get out of the stock market, when I think the stock market was at $13,990. Get out. Get your 401k money. And then I told people to protect themselves with gold for hyperinflation. I said, don't buy it as an investment. I don't. I buy it as a protection against the clearly unsustainable path that our government is on, because your dollar is going to be worth less and then eventually worthless. That's when George Soros' favorite blog site got upset and complained. Oh yes, George Soros. You once called me an angry, bitter old man. Yes, I did, Mr. Potter. Yes, I did. Mainly because you control so much of the news cycle. He and his cronies, I love that word, don't you? Was that popular in the 1890s, Mr. Soros, when you were a hip cat? They said that I was ripping people off. Shortly after that, a United States congressman, Anthony Weiner, a progressive, just happened to pick this issue to fight. It's a total coincidence. And then ABC News, another coincidence, happened to do a big report on the controversy, and other media just happened to follow suit. It was weird. They even had a big hearing on it in Washington because they were just looking out for your safety. Hopefully you listen to me and not the Wiener in Congress, because when I started talking about gold, it was $700 an ounce. Today, oh, don't worry. Oh, don't worry. It's only closed at $1,359 an ounce. But that's it. How's your 401k doing? How's your house doing? It's so obvious who's on the right side here and where we're headed. Even Saturday Night Live had to admit it this weekend. Watch.
We know all about your economic problems. That's why we were so surprised to see you embark on this 10-day vacation to Asia that is costing $200 million a day.
Now, hold on. I don't know where you heard that, but this trip is not costing $200 million a day.
That's not what Glenn Beck says.
Again, let me be clear. Glenn Beck has no idea what he's talking about.
He was right about buying gold.
Oopsie. I've talked about the road that we're heading down, that it will only lead to inflation. The critics all scoffed, claimed that it was deflation that we had to worry about. Me again, 2009. Hello, printing money. Well, ask yourself this. How's the price of your grocery bill? Has it gone up or down in this deflationary period? Your food, up or down in this period? How about school tuition? Up or down? I could go on, healthcare and everything else. We showed you the projections of where food prices are heading, way up. Critics responded by saying, it hasn't actually happened. Really? Check out the price survey done at the nation's largest retailer, Walmart. And the results of the secret survey showed a 0.6% increase in just the last 2 months, according to MKM Partners. Anything notable happened in the last 2 months? Oh, that's right. The monetizing of the debt and the Fed announcing the $600 billion, which is actually $900 billion. QE2, the little bears told me about it. On this program, I think on the first week of my broadcast, I talked about how Mexico was on the verge of collapse, that we had to watch Mexico because it would turn into a full-fledged narco state if we weren't careful. Oh, ridiculed on that one. Wall Street Journal reported this weekend, that since Felipe Calderon launched his war on drug cartels under 3 years ago, more than 7,100 people have been killed. One town, Juarez, border town, over 2,700 people have died since January. And the violence is only getting worse. Headline, Wall Street Journal, can Mexico be saved? I'm sorry, what? Who's talking collapse? I said the radical communist and the leftist would eventually, after deny, would peel off their mask, ending this subversive tactic, I believe those are George Soros's words, and finally reveal who they are and what their agenda is. Well, Lawrence O'Donnell is now stepping up, one of the journalists over at the other network. He's the latest. He keeps proudly now defending his socialism and his far-left views.
I, Glenn, unlike you, I am not a progressive. I am not a liberal who's so afraid of the word that I had to change my name to progressive.
I'm not either.
Liberals amuse me. I am a socialist. I live to the extreme left, the extreme left of you mere liberals.
We've shown you a campaign just last week where they said, hi, I'm a communist and I'm a painter. Hey, I like to go for walks on the beach and I'm a communist. It's all happening. I told you how we were seeing what we were seeing in Greece and France. First, I said Greece and France would have unrest. I was called a hate monger. Then it started to happen. And then I said it would eventually come to America because radicals who are in bed with the unions need the unrest here. The radicals, the unions, and the communists over there are causing it, and it will happen here. It forces the government to take action. Oh, Glenn Beck, a fearmonger. Really, could you play the tape of this is a communist? She has the intelligence of, I think, about a 14-year-old. No offense to 14-year-olds, but you should go to theblaze.com and watch this. It's not really well thought out, but she's a communist in America applauding the violence in France. That's who these people are. But you wouldn't know that from the New York Times. If you read the New York Times, who recently published this warm and fuzzy piece on the Brecht Forum. Brecht Forum. Oh yeah, that's right. That's a group of communists. Remember the bald communist? May I explain? Here it is. If communists have a reputation for anything, it's seriousness. And if you've seen old photos of Karl Marx, you know he didn't smile much. But at the Brecht Forum, a community center on West Street, where revolutionaries, think of this word, revolutionaries and radicals gather daily to ponder and to pontificate. They also play. Smiles abound. They can't write one nice word about Sarah Palin, about me, or about the Tea Parties, but revolutionaries, smiles abound. Oh, it sounds so sweet to read about the communists and the revolutionaries in the New York Times. Have they forgotten what communists actually want? Well, we haven't here because they're talking about the Brecht Forum, and this is a guy speaking at the Brecht Forum that we showed you about a year ago.